Hi, this is your host, Woodie Landeros. You're listening to Shut Up and Fail. Today, I'm here with Rico.
What's up? What up? What up?
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm Rico from Pomona. I'm the owner and founder of Out for the Night Clothing Co. Established in 2012.
Very nice, very nice. So what does Out for the Night stand for?
Well, basically, it started out just like me wanting to print some cool shirts, some cool designs, and it kind of turned into a collective of like some friends that are into photography, into music, just into all arts in general, and we like to have a good time and party.
Nice. Yeah, we went to I know we were supposed to talk about this later, but we went to an agenda show, and I feel like your entire group was so connected together. Like you guys were just having like the time of your life. Like it was like a booth. Like it was just boring. And then we showed up to your guys' booth, and you guys were just going. It was like a little mini party in a box.
Yeah, and like that's kind of the goal. Like everywhere we go, it's like we don't want to just be like the normal clothing company that just does normal shit. We want to, I don't know, we're shotgunning at our booth. You know, we're trying to sell our merchandise, but at the same time, we're trying to have a good time with each other and potential customers as well. So
Yeah.
the ultimate goal is like for us just to have a good time and love what we're doing while we're having a good time.
Yeah, I think that's really important because there was a time where I was doing clothing and selling different things with my clothing brand, Gold Kills. And I feel like I got a little bit stressed in the booth because I was like, I need to make a certain amount of sales. Right. I need to do this. I need to make sure it's perfect. Mm-hmm. But really, like, I mean, all of this, like failure, shut up and fail, like.
Yeah, I think, I mean, making the sales is like, at this point, you know, we're like more than 6 years in. It should start being more of a priority, but I don't think we would be 6 years in or more than 6 years in if we only focused on that.
Yeah.
Like the fact that we're able to have a good time and, you know, do everything that we do while selling clothes is like kept us going this far.
Yeah.
You know?
What type of clothing, I know what type of clothing you design, but what type of clothing do you design for the viewers out there?
Just like streetwear, pretty much California inspired, party inspired. Some of like the favorite brands that I kind of mess with or like kind of get me going is like brands like Never Made and Huff and things that are like not only in one culture as far as like hip hop or hardcore goes or skateboarding. It's kind of everything. Like you could wear this shirt at a hardcore show or at a music festival that's playing EDM, or you could go to the skate park and you won't look like you're wearing too much or too little.
Yeah, I think that's what the whole new wave, it has like fusion of different like cultures, right?
Yeah, definitely.
I think even in dance, like I don't necessarily do hip hop. I'm always like connecting it with hip hop and contemporary, or whenever you're doing like, you know, your clothing, like you said, just having that fusion. I think it puts you on the edge as opposed to just like we're blocked off.
Yeah.
And we're just this type of person, which also speaks through your like party feeling. It's like everybody's invited. Like come check this out.
Yeah, and that's the goal, like to get everybody involved, like everybody to feel like invited. And somebody asked me recently, like, what kind of vibe are you trying to give off, like with your clothing and stuff like that? And I kind of wanted it to be like a team vibe. Like, you know, if you're wearing an Often t-shirt or Out for the Night t-shirt, like I want you to feel like you're a part of the team, especially if like we're out somewhere and we're chilling and then, you know, you show up and you happen to have the shirt on, like there's an instant connection there.
Yeah.
Just like the same way if like, you know, you're wearing a Biggie t-shirt and you see a girl somewhere and she's wearing a Biggie tee, it's like, oh damn, like we have a similar interest. That's pretty tight.
That's cool.
And I kind of want the same vibe for Out for the Night, and you know, it kind of be like a community thing almost.
Yeah. Where do you think that started?
Like the community vibe and stuff.
Yeah.
Basically just through my city. Like I've always tried to, like as far as like social groups go, I always try to like be cool with just about everybody, even though, you know, sometimes growing up I wasn't always, you know, the friendliest or coolest with everybody, but I always wanted to have like good vibes and good connections with everybody. So when I started the line and I started seeing people be like, oh, I'm wearing this shirt, look at I'm wearing this shirt, it just felt good to have people feel like they're part of the team.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really cool. So is this everything? Is that like your main job, or do you have another job on the side of?
No, yeah, I work at an apparel company, a custom apparel company. Yeah, in Chino, it's called Custom for You. Basically, just specializing in all forms of custom apparel, from hats, T-shirts, shorts, whatever you can think of, and even like promo items. But the goal is like for this year to get Out for the Night to be my full-time job.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is that like going into it? Did you already have Out for the Night when you were starting to do graphic design and stuff, or did you start on graphic design first and then go into it?
No, actually, I didn't have like any graphic design experience until after I got into, after I started the company. Because prior to that, I was just in, like, I would play in bands and stuff. And before Out for the Night started, I was in a band, and I wanted to change the name to Out for the Night, but the band split up before I could make that change.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't get the opportunity to make that happen, but I already had like these T-shirt designs lined up. And when the band split, I was like, well, I could still try to push these designs. It's still like, city oriented. Like it had like Pomona in it, and in Pomona, like there's people go crazy over shirts that say it.
They rep their place. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was still relevant.
Yeah, it was still something that I could push, and I just put out one T-shirt design, and then people got behind me right away. Like there was like no hesitation. They didn't say like, "Oh, what happened to the band?" It was like, "Oh, damn, that's a tight shirt. We want to pick it up." And then I remember for like a couple years, it was like this whole like join the movement, join the movement, join the movement. So that's pretty much how that got going. And then after that, I started really like trying to get into graphic design and learning the craft, because prior to that, the designs that I was playing with and the ones that I managed to print somehow like came from like Paint and like what's Photo Bucket. Like there was like a editing program in Photo Bucket, and I would just edit on those things. And then I learned this like Photoshop bootleg program called GIMP. And then slowly but surely I started learning Photoshop.
That's fine. I have two questions out of that. May I ask what you played in the band?
I did vocals.
Vocals.
Yeah.
Nice.
I was a screamer. No, I was like, I did vocals. Like
That's cool.
We played like relatively like heavy music, and I would just yell angry shit.
Do you still have some of your music out there? Hidden somewhere?
Yeah, hidden on YouTube. It's somewhere out there. Yeah,
somewhere.
I'm not ashamed of it. Every now and then, I'm like, man, I want to re-record this. It'll be so sick if I can re-record it.
That's cool. I love that. And then the second thing is, I just kind of wanted to point that out there to everybody else, that like, because sometimes people, like I ask people, do you edit video or do you do this and that? And they're like, yeah, but I can't really do it because I don't have Premiere, or I can't do it because I don't have Photoshop.
Yeah.
I can't, like they're stopped by, like they just put like limitations and they stop themselves before they could even do anything. Like they feel like I was recording on these cameras from day one, or I had Premiere right away. It's like, no, it doesn't work like that. Like I was editing on like a flip phone. Yeah. And like just trying to get the videos lined up with like these little, so it really does start somewhere. I think
it's kind of like if like you really want to do it, you can find a way. Like I said, like I was working with Paint and Photo Bucket. Photo Bucket just had, you could add fonts and you can add an effect to it or something like that. Like it was nothing crazy, but it was something I had to work with because I didn't know how to work Photoshop, or I didn't even know how to get it. Yeah. So
just start somewhere, right?
Yeah, exactly. So if you want to try it, like just use whatever you have access to.
Yeah. So that's the, like, in addition to that, or maybe even the same thing, if somebody were to ask you right now, like starting out, I don't have the money to start, I don't have, pretty much just a list of excuses that we had just stated. Yeah. What's the kind of advice that you would tell them?
Honestly, because I know of like of resources that can kind of help you out in that way. Like there's like companies out there, like even Garment Decor, where I used to work at. They have like a print on demand service, so you don't really have to put up any money up front. You can just straight up, if you can come up with a design or even like a concept of a design, you could give it to them. They'll build a website for you, and you don't have to put out any money up front. basically they'll build a website for you. You start pushing the website and the brand itself, and then when the sale comes in, instead of you having to make shirts up front, they'll print it once it gets ordered. So nothing comes out of pocket really.
Yeah.
So I'll like give them resources like that or give them some options like that. But, and well, outside of not having like the finances for it, I think that'll like be like the best option for them. And then other than that, I'll just say like save up $150. Like there's a way for anybody to save up $150 for the most part.
Yeah.
If they could do that, then they can start, you know, they could print 25 shirts with no problem.
Nice. That's what I did. I started out with $150 or whatever.
Yeah.
And I ordered the 12 shirts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I was just selling, and like, you know, I had my 12 friends. Those are the ones that bought it, but it still like started something.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
And that's pretty much how I started. I saw like some ad, I saw this ad, and I just hit them up like, yo, I got these designs, and I'm pretty sure I gave them like the worst files, but somehow they made it work. You know, because for the most part, you need like a high resolution design file or whatever to get printed. But
now we know, but before it was like just anything, any file.
Yeah,
works.
and it's funny because I still work with some kids, you know, like they're just starting their clothing company, and they'll come and they'll bring me a mock-up. It's like a T-shirt mock-up with a design on it that they made on their phone. And they're like, I want to print 24 of these. And I'm like, well, do you have like the actual file? They're like, this is the file. I'm like, no, like the design file. They're like, this is the design.
This is it.
Yeah, like I'm telling you,
this is it, man. Yeah, this is gonna be it.
I'm like, all right. And then I'll just try to work with them as much as possible, but sometimes, you know, it's not doable. But yeah, I would just say like just try to stack up $100 to $150. You'll find somebody out there. There's so many people printing out of their garage that that'll charge like $3 for the print with low minimums and shit like that. So
I need to find that person.
yeah, I mean, I could
Seriously.
hook you up. Shout out to Sean Joseph and Q Printing.
All right.
Chino Hills.
I'll find him.
Yeah, hit him up.
All right. Let's see. So I know we're talking about a lot of the different things that you went through, and then now I see, you know, you've been in the game pretty much for a while.
Yeah.
And I think that's awesome. Congratulations, because not a lot of people even make it past the first year, right?
Yeah.
1 year, 2 year, they shut down. 4 years, I think they reevaluate and then shut down.
Yeah.
You're on 6 years.
Yeah, I'm on 6 years, but I haven't really shut down. But there's definitely been points where it's like damn, I might be wasting my time. But I think that kind of goes to everyone's mind when it comes to like any projects that they're doing. I think the most difficult thing for me is staying consistent. Like I'm a procrastinator to the fullest, and like staying consistent with stuff has been like the biggest problem. But like so far this year, it's been picking up. I've been like trying to be more disciplined as far as like staying on top of it and making sure shit gets done. But yeah, dude, look, just like I think everybody else can relate to it. Is just like it's easy to want to be like, man, fuck it. I'm just gonna work a regular ass job and not keep chasing this. But I sit down. When I really sit down and think, I'm like, damn, I'm like more than 6 years in. I got all these supporters. Every time I do a release, like people go crazy, like at least locally. But now it's like I'm like motivated and like ready to go towards like the next step and grow outside of just the local scene. But I'm gonna still keep it Pomona as can be, you know?
I think I literally went through that yesterday. Just like sitting here and looking at all like the video equipment, like, dang, been working for a while.
Yeah. Yep.
And like sometimes you just want those like returns like right away. Then you do have to realize like what it's done for your life.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
Because for me, it's done like discipline and showing me like different avenues. And like, there's just so many lessons that come with like running your own business.
Yeah, 100%.
It's insane.
Especially like when you go into it not really knowing what you're doing. Like I came in to starting my own business like without any idea on what I was doing. It was more like, this sounds fun, let me do it. And then after it became just fun, it was like, well, I can actually make something of this. And when the ideas of me making something out of it, like more than just fun, like came into my head, I think that's when pressure started getting to me. I was like, you know, it stayed fun, it's still fun. But when I started realizing, oh, I could make a living off of this potentially, that's when I started like stressing. That's when I started thinking like, man, maybe I can't, or like maybe this won't work, or what are people gonna say if it doesn't work? I think I still find myself like trying to figure out what does this person think if when I do this pop up shop, or like or if they're thinking like, man, you're 28 years old, like why are you still doing this shit? But it's like, I can't stop now,
Yeah. What do you do when you get those like into those stressful moments?
I just kind of sit back and just like tell myself to shut up, like tell myself to shut up, and then I'll like listen to some music and stuff, like Big Sean, his Detroit mixtape. That shit like can get me going no matter what. Like when I listen to the Big Sean Detroit mixtape, that shit is motivating, inspiring. Where he talks about like everything from all the trials, the errors, the doubts, just proving people wrong. And it's not even about proving people wrong. It's about proving myself, right, that I can do it. Like, I just got to work at it. I just got to,
Yeah.
not stop this shit.
I thought you were going to say, I just go to the workout. Or I just go, like, I go punch a wall. Like, a lot of people say that whenever I ask what they do when they, like, stress out. They're like, I just leave. I just run. But that's awesome that you find something that, like, actually puts that rhythm back inside of, like, your heart to go get something. Yeah, I find it so hard to get out of that little twist.
Yeah.
Just, like,
I mean, 'cause
I get stuck.
It's so easy to get stuck in that twist, and then it's hard to, like, get inside your head and be like, yo, like, snap out of it, dude. Just keep going. Like, what's the worst that can happen? Like, a few years pass and you're not exactly where you want to be. Like, a few years and you're not exactly where you want to be, but you do got some progression. That's better than just not doing it at all, and then a few years pass and you being like, damn, this is where I could have been. Regardless if it's just like one notch, if you got one more camera, or if you had 10 more guests that were dope, you could have just not done it, and then 2 years pass by, and then you're like, damn, I could have had this guy as a guest, or I could have had one more camera set up or something like that,
Yeah. I think that's also what happens when you pause, too, because I paused from doing Shut Up and Fail for, like, maybe 2 months.
Yeah.
And I just thought, like, oh, that was, like, 4 or 5 guests.
Yeah, exactly. And
Damn.
that's what I think.
The momentum, too, like...
Momentum's a motherfucker, because it's so easy to lose it. But it's what I've learned is, like, I pick up momentum just as fast as I drop momentum. So I won't do anything for like 2, 3, sometimes 4 months. Last year, I think I did one. It was like after the 2 agendas that I did. The first one, crazy success. It was super dope. The second one, I think it discouraged me because you saw how bad the market was. Like the agenda Long Beach, it was like a music festival, so it brought in all the buyers, and then on the last day, it brought in all the kids that were going to see the Brockhampton and all the artists or whatever. So that was like super motivating, and I was just like, hell yeah, let's go. Like, this is the best shit ever. I had people buy from other countries, like buying my shit like in bulk. And then a couple months later, I went to the Las Vegas one, which was like total opposite. I maybe interacted with like 10 people a day, and I was there for 3 days. I don't even like Vegas. It's just hot.
I hate Vegas.
I really do. I was there with my cousin and one of my friends that helps me out with everything, and they were like, hell yeah, Vegas, let's do this. And I'm like, no, I just want to go for this and this only. And then, we end up partying and we go out, but it's like 102 degrees, and all you can do is spend money and waste money and just buy drinks that you can't get drunk off of because it's so hot.
Yeah.
So,
seriously.
So that bugs me.
Most of it is ice.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Buying these tall ass Slurpee things that suck, but that's besides the point. But yeah, like the Vegas agenda, it was like total opposite, and it made me see like, man, maybe me getting in stores isn't the big goal, because that's what I always wanted at first. It's like, I just want to be inside stores. I want to be inside PacSun. I want to be inside Zoomies and all these places inside the mall. But then all the older people that were at that agenda, they're telling me like, this is a dying market. Like, getting inside these stores isn't going to be like a thing for much longer, only because everybody's doing like their own brick and mortars, or their online sites. So they're trying to tell me like the Zoomies and Paxtons are dying out, which I don't really believe because those stores run strong. Still, one of my big goals, like for the next 1 to 2 years, is like to be inside of a Zoomies, but maybe I don't have to go to like Agenda anymore, unless it's like the festival one. Cause that shit's tight. It was fun.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah,
we got to see Brockhampton and everything, and then
Yeah.
they had all the food trucks, and they had First We Feast.
Yeah, first.
Yeah,
Feast,
yeah, I
Sean
tried
Evans.
those. I tried those hot wings, man. Those are so hot.
Yeah, I love.
Those just started crying.
I watch that like whenever the seasons are going. I pretty much watch it every Thursday with some Wingstop.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, those
Absolutely.
wings are so hot. If you guys ever get a chance, like we actually ordered all the hot sauces.
Yeah.
Dude, it's so good. Just
That's
like
dope.
throw them on tacos.
Oh really?
So bomb, dude.
That's dope.
So bomb.
Yeah, like I'll sit there and I'll watch the interview and I'll pretend like I'm answering the questions.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And now you're on the podcast.
Yeah, no, I'm
so
on
that's
the
cool.
podcast.
Is this
my-
your first one?
Yeah, it's my first podcast.
Nice.
I went to like one of my friends, like he did like a music interview or something like that, and I went to the radio with him, and they asked me like a couple questions, but outside of that, like this is my first time doing
That's
anything
dope.
like this, so it's cool. I like it.
We're happy to have you here. Seriously, like talking to you as a, designer and then also a clothing brand owner.
Yeah.
Graphic designer, right?
Mhm.
And it's just cool to hear because I went through the same things, and I think I feel like now hearing you, I'm like I should have stayed, like I should have held on. I think where it got me really discouraged was the oversaturated market of brands.
Yeah.
That's where I got flushed in mentally. I don't think reality-wise, I looked back and the numbers looked okay.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, if you keep on doing this, it'll turn into something. But mentally, I stopped myself so many times because I'm like, well, what makes me different than that guy?
Yeah.
What makes me different than that guy, and that guy, and that guy, and that guy? And sometimes I do that with video too.
Yeah.
But I think with video, I don't have to see the other guys.
Yeah.
But with clothing, it was like you have booth. So
Yeah, and I kind of I felt that way like when I was at Agenda. Just to go back to that, there's like 2,000 brands in there, and then I go and I see all the brands that I really like, or like all the mainstream brands. I go and I look at their booths, and I'm like, well, I'm certainly not like them because they're fucking killing it.
yeah, they
And
have
then-
like all these setups with like gold things and
Yeah.
like shoes and everything in glass containers.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, like, well, I definitely need to step my shit up in this way. And then I go to like the smaller brands, and I'm like, well, I'm nothing like these guys because I don't know, not to sound cocky, but I felt like I was better than some of those brands. And then there was other brands that were basically like on the same level, but I still felt like, okay, they have like a niche. I still don't have like that much of a niche aside from it being like a party brand, or like that's what I want it to be, like a party streetwear brand that you could take anywhere. But some people, like, how would I explain it? Like Slurp Cult. There's some brand named Slurp Cult. They're fucking awesome. And their whole thing is like Slurpees and shit like that. And like that's their niche. Everything has to do with like Slurpees. And I think that's like a big key to like being a successful brand, is having like an actual branding stamp. And
Something memorable.
yeah, something memorable, something I can go anywhere and you'd be like, oh, that kind of reminds me of that brand, or that's from that brand. And it's still something I'm still working on, 6 years later.
What's that one brand, the Pigeon?
I think it might be Pigeon.
I think it's just Pigeon, yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Every time I see a pigeon, I think about that.
Yeah.
And then every time I see a cupcake, I think about Johnny Cupcakes.
Yeah,
Every time, like, you see those different things, and it makes you, like, think about the brand.
right, yeah.
Or anytime you can't do something, and you're like, okay, I just have to do it, you think about Nike,
Exactly.
so...
And what's funny about, like, I was just sitting down with one of my buddies the other day, and we're kind of like brand strategizing for me, and we're talking about how all these brands, like, they have a logo that doesn't always stand for it. Like Johnny Cupcakes and the Pigeon, those are gonna stand for it.
Yeah.
But like Nike, that check mark, like that doesn't really have to do anything with Nike. Like the only reason why it does have something to do with it is because that's what Nike branded it as.
History.
Yeah, because of history. But how did he reference it? If somebody came down from Mars from some other planet and they saw the check mark, they wouldn't say that belongs to Nike. It'll just be a sign. It'll just be like a logo. So I'm kind of like trying to figure out what I want my logo to be, and in my head, it's always had to like somehow symbolize out for the night, but it doesn't really have to. It just has to be memorable, something that can stick to anything.
Yeah, I think you guys just have to like just show the people what Out for the Night means like as a brand, and just speak more on that. And I think like the logo will come. I like your guys' logo.
Yeah,
I think your guys' logo is dope.
thanks.
Yeah, I think just speaking about what the brand voice means, you know, shooting out a bunch of photos, videos, like constantly speaking that voice, and then having other people speak about it too.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'm really happy with this podcast.
Yeah.
I think it's super relaxed, super chill, and especially compared to the last few that I had. It was really more like I like the tone and everything. Like we really get to talk about some of the things that you went through and some of the things that you've been doing and some of the things that you're still going through.
Yeah,
so,
definitely. Yeah,
you know,
I mean,
and you actually said at one point, I just need to kind of like shut up. You know, just tell yourself to shut up, which is like shut up and fail.
oh yeah, I didn't even realize that. But yeah, dude, it's like the truth. Because sometimes, you know, I might be in my room for a couple of hours and I'll get inside my head like, I just need to do something else. Like this isn't gonna work. And then I sit back again and I'm like, dude, just stop. Like, if you stop now and 2 years later, you could have been 8 years into the game, and who knows, something really could have popped off at that point, you know? And then I look at all these brands that it took 10 plus years, and I got to remind myself that I'm only 6+ years in.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Hopefully you replace like just saying shut up to saying, you know, I just need to shut up and fail.
Yeah.
Because like all those failures will turn into a success story.
Definitely.
And it's just going on and on and on. I think that's pretty much it for today.
Okay.
But I want to give you an opportunity to shout out just anything, any tags, any handles.
Yeah, just check out the website, outforthenight.net, Instagram, OFTNCA. Hit up my friend Trapbox, Beaks Geek, RSVP. They make some dope music out of Pomona and just LA County. What else? 3-Bit Games. Daniel Martinez for linking us up.
Let's go, Daniel.
Kyle, and all of Pomona. That's
Sweet.
it.
All right, guys. Thank you guys for listening. Deuces.
Peace.